Welcome in, everyone, to the Blue Demon Room podcast, where DePaul Athletics brings you stories of its student athletes, coaches, and alumni. I'm your host, Casey Standahar, and I'm thrilled to introduce our next guests, Hannah Smith and Eleanor Nobbs from DePaul Women's Tennis. Ladies, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, that was in unison. You guys are ready.
Talk at the same time.
Yeah, apparently. Thank you again for being on the show. You're both saying that your friends and teammates have some pretty notable nicknames for you both. Can you tell us what those nicknames are and how you got them?
You can go first.
Okay, my nickname's Muff or Muffin. It started my freshman year, literally my first day. We had just completed the fitness test, and I went to one of my teammates, Greta, and I was like, "Oh, you're such a muffin." And then she was like, "What does that mean?" And then she turned around and was like, "No, you're the muffin." And then ever since then, I've become the muffin, and it's now stuck. But no, it's good. It feels weird going back home and people calling me Hannah again. I'm like, oh wait, that's actually me too. But no, it's good.
We should redo the intro, and that's how I'll introduce you guys.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have Muff and your nickname.
I have a lot of different nicknames, but my main nickname is Nobbies, and it's because my surname is Nobbs. So it kind of just since my freshman year, they would call me Nobbies.
Yeah.
And then
it's off your last name. That makes sense.
Yeah. Some people just call me Nobbs. Some people call me Nobbies.
Okay, I love this. It's like a cartoon, Muff and Nobbs.
Yeah, and then this year we have another Eleanor on the team as well.
Okay.
So it's good that I have a nickname, so we don't get confused. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it's pretty easy to tell that you were both born and raised in England. For our American audience, can you describe the place you grew up before you came to DePaul?
Well, you can take us off.
I think both of us grew up in very different places to Chicago. I grew up in a small village near Bath, which is southwest of England. Mm-hmm. And it's just countryside and fields, maybe 2,000 people. So it was very different coming to the US, especially to Chicago. It's such a big city. But in that sense, I love the variety. I get to go home over winter break and summer break and just go on walks in the countryside with my family and friends. But then here there's so much to do in Chicago, and just I love the skyline.
Yes.
Every time, even now 3.5 years later, every time I see the skyline, I'm like, whoa, how is this real? How do I live here? So yeah.
You got a glimpse from your bedroom this year.
Yeah, and from our apartment, out my bedroom window, you can see the John Hancock building and
Amazing.
another building. So yeah, I didn't even notice it for a month, and then I was just looking out the window, and I'm like, no way, that's the John Hancock building. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool. And for you?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to Nobbies. It's very countryside. Mm-hmm. It's literally just a school and a pub, so the essentials in life. And that's basically it. A lot of cows. So you just go on the walks and sort of enjoy the calmness of it all. But then you come back here, and I love it here. You got everything on your doorstep. So it's so nice, and I do miss going home and not having that, but then at the same time it's nice to get the escape and enjoy the sort of countryside and stuff like that. But yeah.
So do we have the weird Midwestern accents, Chicago? Are you guys getting acclimated to that feeling, hearing people talk like that?
I feel I think because I've spent so much time here compared to the rest of the US, the Chicago accent is the American accent to me, you know?
That's right.
The US accent. But yeah, at first it was kind of weird hearing everyone speaking an American accent, but now when I go home I'm like, whoa, so many British accents. But this year we do have so both of us are British, and then we have 2 other Brits on the team, 2 freshmen. So I think my accent is stronger at this time than it would have been this time last year.
Yeah, a lot of people, when I go back home, they think I'm South African. So, because I've obviously picked up a slight accent from here, and then they get confused as to how I'm from England.
Keep them guessing, really.
Yeah, but when I'm here, obviously it's pretty obvious that I'm from England. But then, Nobby said, when you're here, you obviously get used to the accent. But now I can pick up an English accent. If people are walking down the street a lot quicker than probably what I'm used to, because you're oh, that's familiar.
Sure.
So, but no, it's good.
Eleanor, you obviously came here to play tennis. You both did. So I want to know for both of you, what was attractive about coming to the States to play this sport?
I think the main reason I kind of came across it was because it's very big in the UK in general. A lot of older people that I've played tennis with also came to the US and had really positive things to say about it. And obviously it's such an amazing opportunity, getting to move to a different country, play tennis on a team, which I really like. The team aspect really appealed to me because I mean, tennis is obviously an individual sport in juniors and everything.
Right.
So to have like something that you can play for or people that you can play with, like it's just like the best part by far of college sports. And so yeah, I think mainly from like learning about it by older people that I'd grown up playing tennis with, and then once I started talking to coaches, I was like, wow, like this sounds amazing. Obviously getting a degree as well, like being a student athlete. So yeah, that was kind of why I wanted to.
Was it similar for you?
Yeah,
Hannah?
very similar for me. Like we grew up with like the sense of like American college was like the way forward in life, no matter like what sort of path you wanted to go in. Like tennis, we have a few big schools for tennis back in like universities back in England, but like it doesn't give you the same like opportunities as it does here. Like what we get here is so much greater. And also like Nobby said, like the team aspect's like incredible.
Yeah.
Like can be quite lonely sometimes when you're by yourself, but then like when you come here, it's like you forget that tennis is an individual sport until like you go out of that again and you're like, whoa, this is like so different. But no, it's definitely like something that I knew from a young age that I wanted to do, and maybe how tennis has grown over the years of like it's gotten older, like they've got players playing for longer that like coming into as a pro potentially if you wanted to do that would be starting later too, so you can succeed until like you're 35, like the Williams sisters have or something like that. Like obviously when Steffi Graf was playing, she was like 14. Like we don't really see that as often anymore. You have the occasional, but I think that's also what's grown more people to come to college and like play Division 1. So.
And Eleanor, how did you get recruited here?
Well, I was being recruited during COVID.
Okay.
So that was kind of frustrating because I couldn't visit.
Right.
Which obviously it's a big decision, especially like coming from across the world. Like it would have been amazing to visit different places. So it was mostly just sort of FaceTimes, Zoom calls. And obviously I was speaking to lots of different coaches. But I think the main thing that drew me to DePaul was definitely, I mean, Marissa, she's amazing. And like you can tell on all of the recruiting calls, like she really cares about us as people as well as tennis players. And then also I did a Zoom call with the team at the time, which a lot of the other coaches hadn't really done. It was mostly just like talks with them or talks with one other player. So I found it really fun, like interacting with the team, seeing how they interacted with each other, like on a Zoom call, and just like they seemed to be like laughing all the time and just had so many positive things to say. And it's funny because I never really imagined myself going to a city university. Like I think maybe from just growing up watching like American movies, imagined myself going to like a typical like big college town. But now I'm so grateful. Like choosing DePaul was by far the best decision of my life. And I can't imagine my life like without the people in it. So
That's great to hear.
I'm just like very grateful for that decision.
And Hannah, do you feel the same way about that kind of city university feeling where you're getting sort of the best of both worlds? You're getting that city life, but you also do have a great college campus here too.
No, yeah, for sure. Like at like Nobby's, I wasn't also sure about coming to a city, just maybe also from like where we've lived, of like not coming from like a big area, like you're not used to like this many people, like this, like it's a lot louder. It's like it can be quite daunting as such, but like now living in it for like 2.5 years, you're like, why did I ever think of not coming here? But no, I totally agree. Like, so I went to boarding school growing up, and like you feel very secluded sometimes. It's just campus, and I think that's sometimes what you have with the bigger schools, where it's just like a camp, with the city is just a campus, and like all you meet is the students. Rather than here, you're like living best of both worlds. Like you can walk down the street and meet people you don't even know.
Right. And
I think that's something like was really nice and gets you like prepared for like outside of college. You're still in college, but you're also like living a normal life in a sense, and not having that safety net. And I think that's something that you forget that you almost need sometimes, and I'm really grateful for that too.
Is there anything from UK tennis culture that you would both want to maybe implement or bring here that you don't see here?
God.
The only thing, I mean, we already have it here because we're on a team sport, but like one really great thing about UK tennis culture is that we have this thing called County Cup or County Week, which is, I think probably same goes for you. Like the reason we found out that we love playing for a team, because you basically play for your like region and you travel with the team. There's a winter one and a summer one, and then like different ones for juniors as well. And the summer one is so cool. You like go play on grass for the week. You play 15 doubles matches in 5 days and stay with the team. So that's basically what we do here as college sports.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have like similar things for junior tennis or not. I just don't really know. But yeah, that's something that's always been like super fun growing up playing tennis.
And Hannah, you recently made the Big East first team. Can you explain, for those of us who might not know what that means, what that is and why that's such an honor for you?
Yeah, so it's like an award at the end of the year that you get given into like different teams. You can be first team or second team, and it just depends on your position in the lineup, and then how well you do in that season. So fortunate for me, like me and Nobbs were number 1 and 2 in our lineup the last year, and we were both awarded first and second team of the year, which is like a big honor, I think, for both of us and also the program. But ultimately, like our positions in the team isn't like, yeah, we're number 1 and 2, but I don't think that really justifies that we do it all as a team. Like I wouldn't have been able to get to number 1, and Nobbs wouldn't have been able to get to number 2 without everybody around us. Like they push us every day in practice, and that's how, yeah, my name's on the award, but I don't really feel like it was just my name. I think everybody on the team deserves it because they got us to that position, and I think honestly anybody in our team could have easily got that award, like because we're such a close-knit team, and
That's
like
good.
Anybody can play number 1 position. I was just fortunate enough to be able in that position, and I'm very grateful that Mish like put me in that, and I was able to succeed and get an achievement out of it. But I wouldn't have been able to do it without the rest of the team for the day in, day out sort of commitment and being there all the time. So.
And speaking of that team mentality, you both play doubles. So what is it like to try to get in sync with another teammate before you guys play?
You want to take it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is actually off court. Like you have to like sort of gain that trust and like understanding of each other off court before, and then it just sort of like flows so much easier on court. If you don't have that sort of connection where you can just like free willingly be like, hey, like I don't feel it today, like just need a little extra.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the trust that you need to like get to. Like you don't want to be scared to like ask them like I need a little help today, and like that's where doubles is such a unique thing, is like you can bounce off each other so well, and like anything can happen. Like you can just like be at the worst tennis level, but if you just like tell your teammate, you're like, hey, I'm feeling a little rough, like they're gonna pick you up no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that Mish is also like just built into us, of like understanding each other off court helps us so much on court, and then we know how to play tennis. You can figure it out. Like it's not too hard in a sense, like when you played it all your life, and then it just becomes like second nature, and then you're basically just like playing doubles with your best friend, and everything's pretty like easy peasy in a sense of that sense, I think. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think like everything Muff said is true, and then it's just a lot of communication, communicating if you're feeling a certain way, if you're feeling more nervous, and then also just like some people just tend to work better with others in doubles. Like some people like a lot more cheering, some people like a lot more chill. So yeah, Mish tries to put us like together, like pairs that she thinks will work well, based on sort of like their personalities, all that stuff as well. So yeah.
Have you two ever played doubles together?
We have sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, we have, which actually works quite well because like we do a personality test each year, and like that sort of helps us all understand everybody in a better sense. That you can gauge like if person's a bit more extroverted, a bit more introverted, or certain things that they do. But like I think we're pretty similar in that sense, and I think that's what helps us get along really well. Of course, like I'm not gonna go crazy after like I win a point and like shout super loud. I'm a bit more of a chill person. I'll still shout pretty loud, but like not to an extent that could be like whoa and like scare Nobbs. It'd be like I'd understand, like a good understanding of what level of intensity I would need to go at, and that's something I think we know pretty well how to handle and stuff like that.
But is there ever a moment where you obviously you have to, handle your emotions, but is there ever a moment where you are frustrated with your doubles partner, and how does that kind of play out?
I think like it's natural for that to happen sometimes. But I think the most important thing is definitely communication. Like if you feel a certain way, maybe not in the heat of the moment, but like just have that communication with them. And I think something Mish has done so well is like creating our team culture. And one of the main things is healthy conflict is important. You know, like everyone's gonna have disagreements sometimes or think differently about things. And if it goes unsaid, it just builds and builds and builds. Whereas,
like any relationship,
yeah,
really.
exactly. And so she's kind of instilled in us that it's important to say something and to say how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Obviously in a respectful way, and like everyone on the team cares about each other so much and cares about the team and loves each other. So just like remembering that it's coming from a place of love. And yeah, I think that can be really helpful when there's disagreements.
And Eleanor, you have said that some of your idols are the likes of Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Besides them being two of the best in the world, what is it about the two of them that inspires you?
Well, this could be a long answer.
How much time do we have?
I think Nadal, what inspires me most about him is definitely his work ethic. You can just see how hard he works, like always giving everything he has in everything he does, never giving up, like just that like attitude and determination. So I think that's the thing that inspires me most about him. And then Federer, I mean, he's just, I would say, everyone's inspiration. Like the way he plays is so beautiful to watch, and just it looks effortless when it's really not. So yeah, and I think with both of them, just also their like longevity and consistency in being great. Like it's so difficult to win one Grand Slam, let alone like 20, you know? So I think that's just like very inspirational, and I'm so sad that both of them are retiring.
I know, definitely sad. But for you, Hannah, do you have people that you look up to in the sport as well, or do you echo kind of the same thoughts?
I echo a lot of the same thoughts, and then also like on like the women's tour, we had like Ash Barty, who was an Australian player. She was actually like her career was a very interesting one to me personally. I was like, she won a lot of junior events. She won like junior Wimbledon, I believe it was, and then she quit the game after going a few years on the tour to play cricket. So she played cricket for about 3 or 4 years, and then she came back and came world number one. And it's just like crazy how she has like so many different abilities and you can be so great in all of them. She's now retired after like basically winning Australian Open, I think it was, and then she retired, and now is playing golf professionally. Like she's just like changing up all the sports, and it's just like her ability just to like be calm, a bit like Roger, just like be very humble as well. I think all of them are very humble and just like accepting like that they just like love playing the sport, but they don't want to like drown themselves in it too. And I think that's so
that
great.
balance, very cool.
Yeah.
And your coach started 5 years ago, so Eleanor, you would have met her in your second year, is that correct? Was it
No, so
or in her second year, excuse me. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was her second like full season.
Yes.
Because obviously the first year that was COVID.
So how has the culture changed since the beginning of kind of her tenure as your coach to now?
Well, I mean, obviously the past few years, it's all been like people that she's recruited herself. And I think something great is that she really cares about us as like people and how we're gonna buy into the team culture. And that's something that she'll like ask recruits and make sure they're all sort of on the same wavelength. So I think, I mean, the past few years, it's been just every team's been so close, and that's definitely something I value the most. How much we are a team and we are a unit, and we just love spending time with each other off the court as well. And it just makes everything really fun. You know, even like conditioning, we try to make fun. As tough as it is, like that's what makes us stronger. So I think, I just think over the past few years, I wouldn't say like the team culture has changed or anything. I just think like each year it's got like stronger and stronger, and Mish is just doing an amazing job. So
And tennis is a sport where you kind of have to be more polite when you're watching. It's a little bit quieter until something big happens. So is that environment different for you both, where it's like, okay, I do want to hear maybe some crowd or maybe my teammates cheering me on, that energy behind you?
Yeah, I think so. In college tennis, we have that sort of sense, and for us it's pretty difficult because we don't have that many spectators coming to our games because we play on the south side. And we don't have any like student buses for students to go watch, so they'd have to find their own way. So we don't really get like the spectatorship aside from like our close friends or our family members that are coming. But like that doesn't stop us. We're probably like one of the loudest people in the whole of like the conferences across all of America. Honestly, we come into a tournament, they'll be like shouting at us, going demons, because we're just in their heads the whole time.
That's awesome.
So like we just sort of, our teammates and we're on court, we're just always shouting and like being there for each other, which is very different when you're playing on the pro tour. Like it's very quiet and it's very like you said, polite and stuff like that. When you're in college, for us, it's a little different. We can be a bit more louder and a bit more like outgoing and a little bit more extra, I'd feel. But that honestly like helps you in so many different ways. Like you could be like so frustrated, but you can portray it in a positive way by shouting, and then it just is a different level.
I was just going to ask you that. With all the energy around you, maybe when you're down or frustrated, what are you telling yourself internally in your head to kind of keep you going throughout that?
Another thing that Mish is big on is like positive self-talk. And so I think trying to talk to yourself nicely when you're playing is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, off court as well, obviously. Like,
right.
But just, I mean, I think cheering has really helped me. Instead of saying something negative if I miss a shot, just scream, go demons, like get it out somehow, but in a positive way.
Right.
And then just saying things, like that you would say to your doubles partner or you would say to your teammate, saying it to yourself as well. And sometimes it looks funny saying it out loud, but it definitely helps so much. Even little things like you've got this, or, you're so good, or you're so tough. And then adding on to Muff's answer from before, I was going to do a little plug for our matches. So, I mean, we're super loud and high energy. It will just be like us cheering for each other most of the time. And we play at XS Tennis Village, so it is far. But it's like so much fun to play, to watch. So
get out there and watch the women's tennis team for DePaul. That'd be fun. I mean, that's like a fun outing for the day.
For sure. So if anyone's free and fancies watching some tennis and cheering super loud, then...
First home game is against UIC, so we got to take down the Chicago.
Yes, little Chicago rivalry. I love it. When you're both up in the match, how do you keep yourself from maybe getting too comfortable or too cocky in the moment?
So I'm pretty more of a chill person, and if I get a bit too energetic or a bit too intense, Mish tells me like, Muff, you need to bring your level down. Like she was like, if you're at an 8.5 intensity, like we need to bring it down to like a 7.
Okay.
Like, cause I work better at a lower level.
Yeah.
So like that's almost my sense of just being like, okay, we got to stay calm and just like have a simple game plan. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is my game plan when I'm serving. This is my game plan when I'm returning, and just keeping it basics and simple. It's like, you've got to this point of winning in the match. You don't need to change anything. You keep going. And if you are maybe feeling a little bit nervous, that's when like I personally use other people around us. And that's also what Mish tells us to do, is like, just worry about somebody else in a sense. So you don't need to worry about yourself. You can help them and help them get through that, and like let out that any emotions that you have that might hinder your player, and then try and help other people around you as well, which can only make you better at least.
Sure. That makes sense.
And I think tennis is like a very mental game, and it's something that we all struggle with. Like I still struggle with it, So I think just trying to stay in the present and like really enjoy the moment, focus on like your why or the reason for like being there. And like Muff said, just like trying to find ways to help others and to help the team can really help when you're feeling nervous.
Is there a match or a tournament that in recent history, or from forever ago, that you're both really proud of, or that you kind of remember really fondly for any specific reason?
I have quite a few, but I would say from last year, probably when we played St. John's in the semi-finals of the Big East tournament. Like I still get goosebumps thinking about it now. I just wish I was back there, like, playing it again. I would say that one, it was just such a special feeling. Like we'd worked so hard all year, and with such a great group of people, we were just like such a team, and we beat them 4-0. Everyone was just like, everyone did an amazing job. And everyone was super loud. Like, it was just the best feeling. Like, we finished that match and everyone just like screams, like runs into a huddle, like jumping up and down. And yeah, we had a photographer there with us, and like we had such amazing photos.
Cool.
And just like looking at them now, you're like,
Yeah.
wow, like what
That's
a time.
history, right? Like you have that forever now.
Yeah, and it was just so much like pure just happiness and just love. Yeah.
I love that. Hannah, for you?
Yeah, definitely that match. That honestly was like one of like our highlights, I feel like, from last year. I also feel like in my freshman year when we beat Iowa, it was like a 3-3 match, and Lenko was like, I don't know, in a 3.5 hour brawl on her court, and it was like such an intense match. I felt like I remember like when I'm on the sideline, I'm a really bad person to be standing next to. I'm like, this is maybe the only time I'm not so chill. I'm like gripping onto people or like telling her, like, I analyze the game a bit too much sometimes, and I'm like shouting cross court. And like, I don't know, that was just like such a highlight. And I can still remember how that game ended, even though like I wasn't playing. Like I can literally feel that moment every single time. And I think that was like such a good team win for us, and just an overall momentum for us in general. Because like, I don't know, we had a bit of a rocky start to our season, and then we picked it up, and I think we got like a record win
Number of
streak or
wins, yeah.
something like that. And I think that was, I don't know, just made every moment happen, and yeah, it was good fun.
That's
as well.
great.
I would also add one more. I mean, I feel like we could keep going with this
We
list.
could keep going.
But last year we played Miami of Ohio, and
Oh
it was
God.
3-all. And one of our teammates, Greta, was 6-1, 4-1 down. Came back, won that set, and then in the third set was 5-4, 40-15 down.
40 love, I think.
40 love down. So basically, like
3
1
match
point
points.
Yeah.
away from losing. She won those 3 or 4 points in a row.
Wow.
Won the match 7-5 in the third set, and like just seeing that, like it just shows you how never giving up really like pays off. So that was very inspiring, and that was definitely like one of the best team wins.
Definitely, and I think that also comes from like us on the sidelines. We lost our voices the next day because like we were shouting so
No
much.
one was
and, like,
Yeah.
almost helped her through those like tricky moments.
Yeah.
And we had a film photographer that time, and like I remember the video of her like when she won and everything, like in my head right now as it happened.
Yeah.
So, no, it was good memories.
That's cool that you guys have that to always, remember back and watch back. And it's already so vivid in your mind, too.
Yeah.
Is it those moments that keep you kind of on your toes, keep you improving and growing? Because I think it could be easy to, when you play for a while, kind of get complacent. So how do you make sure that you're always leveling up?
I think for me, there's so many answers to this question. A big thing is definitely that, like wanting to feel like those
That feeling
emotions again.
Yeah.
Just that pure like happiness of not only winning, but winning with like basically your family, But also a big thing that like motivates me is the feeling of losing as well. Like all 3 of my years. So freshman year and last year we lost in the final of Big East. My sophomore year we lost in the semifinals, and it was very close. And just that like pure heartbreak after, not so much from losing a championship, just from like the season being over, you know, and like the seniors graduating, who you're super close to, like not being going to be on the team again, not going to play a match with them again. So I think that feeling of like wanting to play for them, not just this year, like obviously the team from this year and then the people from previous years as well, like wanting to do it for them, never wanting to feel that like pain again. Because it is like heartbreaking, when you've worked for something all year, and at the end of the day, like we had so many amazing memories and such a great season, like every year. And after, like, as time goes on, you start to like see that and realize that. But in the moment, like, it's just tough, the way college sports works. Like, I wish I could just stay in college sports for the rest of my life, honestly, and just never graduate. So, yeah, I'm going to stop before I start crying.
I know, don't cry.
No, I definitely agree with everything Nobby said. And I think also, like, to add on that is, like, every win we take from now on is, like, the team past for the last 2 years, 3 years we've been on the team has helped contribute to that, even if they're not like here or they're not playing or whatever it is. It's like we've got to this stage because of them, and then like we're always doing it for them. I feel like no matter what it is like we'll do it for the people before, we do it for the people present, and I think that's what drives us. And it's like we don't want that feeling to happen again of in the Big East conference or little things like that, but also like you don't want the feeling of losing too. So I think it's just like a mixture of everything for sure.
Because it is such a small team, and a lot of you are international students and international athletes, is it difficult to adjust to different cultures? Are you learning a lot about each other's culture, or is it just kind of like you're immersed in American culture now?
I think this is probably also one of my favorite things about this team. I feel like I'm saying everything is my favorite thing, which is true, but everyone's so international. And so like from the moment I arrived, I met people from countries that like I've never met before, and just learning about their traditions. Like I have like a note on my phone of like from different countries, like different words from different countries. I've been trying to learn like some of the languages on Duolingo, and it's just like so fun because you get to try different foods. You get to, you know, like different places have different New Year's traditions, or like just different cultures in general. Learning about them is honestly one of the best things. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
That's cool. Like one of you earlier before we started filming said porridge, and they're like, we don't even like, I don't know what that is. Like, is that soup? Like,
no,
just stuff
porridge
like that.
is just oatmeal, so it's just nothing, just a different word that we have. But no, I think we've almost become like we made our own little culture from everybody else's culture. Like we've just like blended into one and just like become like a mix of everything. And I think that's what almost like held us together even more. It's like our glue is like holding to our own culture, but then also being like open to like learning more and like interacting with that, and just like, I know maybe that's also what makes us even closer as a team, is like we have those same shared experiences of like living away from home and like not having everything that we normally have, or like a different culture that we're living in. We're all like doing something new, and it's something that we all bond over, and that's what connects us more. And I think maybe that's what makes us so special as a team and as a unit, as a family, as we just like become one with each other's culture in a sense, I feel.
Yeah, that's gotta help. But speaking of being far away from home, do either of you ever get homesick, and how do you handle those moments?
I think I kind of expected to be more homesick, not because like I never, like obviously sometimes I miss my family and friends.
Sure,
sometimes.
But like especially when I first arrived, I was kind of expecting to feel more homesick, but immediately like the girls on the team welcomed me. And I just remember the one thing that sticks out the most is like those first few days, I just remember laughing so much because like we've had some like characters on the team who are just like so funny and just like put me at ease straight away. So I don't think I ever really felt like really homesick. I think obviously like when you go through ups and downs, like there's times where you feel more stressed or more tired or just like overwhelmed, and you're like, I wish I could hug my mom right now, you know? But I try not to think about it as much as I can. And obviously like having, you know, access to social media, especially like WhatsApp, being able to just phone home is really nice. And then, yeah, my family have like visited a couple of times, so that's been really nice as well.
Cool.
Yeah, very similar to Norway. I don't think like I would have like thought I missed it as like much. Like going home, I don't know. I feel like this is my new home now in a sense. And I know I was also like with boarding school, I traveled from a young age too. So like from being away from home wasn't like that much of a shock when I came here. Like I did that for like a few years now before that, so it wasn't like a massive shock for me. Obviously I still miss a few things from home, but ultimately I feel like we've just become a family here that it's almost like, in a sense, not you forget that is your home too, but you almost come so much like invested in this that it's like hard to sometimes have that sort of homesickness because you just lean on each other so much, and like everybody else supports you around that. Even if you need your mum to hug you, you have other people around you to do that too.
We love hearing that. That's great to hear. what are some of the places or maybe the Chicago finds that you guys have really liked? And we know you'd like to bake, Eleanor. So is there a pastry shop or a bakery that you have really loved?
I would say that I'm like a big food person in general. So I love like trying out new places to eat, new coffee shops. I wish I had more time to bake because I love baking, but usually I'll try to bake for like big occasions and things like that. A lot of food places. I think my favorites are probably Gallucci, for sure. That's like an Italian place. Los Tres Panchos, if you want like authentic Mexican food.
Okay.
We can keep this list going. Coffee, definitely Heritage, Bourgeois Pig. That's really good for studying too because it's open until midnight.
Get in that promo.
And then Allure, very
Okay.
close to campus, run by a Venezuelan guy, Luis. He's really nice.
Come
And
besties
then-
with him.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I'll have a list, so like if anyone wants a list of places,
Yeah, we'll
just
take
let me
notes
know.
after. I love
Yeah.
those are great suggestions. Hannah, for you?
Yeah, pretty similar to Nobbs. We love coffee on the team, so we'll find any little like coffee shop really and just like have our own like, so we get together and we like study and have coffee and stuff like that. Food wise, I don't know, just like a bit of everything.
Cool.
I like to cook at home, so I've become more invested in like Instagram reels and finding
Yeah,
new things to find
good
on
recipes. Saves money too.
that. Yeah, that's
Very
what I was-
cool.
Extra little bits.
I have another place too.
Oh,
so
God, here goes.
we always like the past couple of years we've gone to Cornerstone Cafe before
Shout
every
out.
home match, yeah. And they have like the long table set up for us, and it's
That's
just
cool.
become like a pre-match routine. So
Yeah.
we really like that place too.
It's
yeah.
tradition now. I love
Yeah.
it. That's awesome. Well, guys, we're going to come back with more. We have Hannah Smith and Eleanor Nobbs on the Blue Demon Room when we come back. Back on the Blue Demon Room podcast with Hannah Smith and Eleanor Nobbs from DePaul Women's Tennis. Ladies, recently you went to the Wilson headquarters in Chicago. Can you tell us what that trip was for and what it was like there?
So yeah, we were fortunate enough to get the sponsorship by Wilson now. I think one of the first college teams to ever get a sponsorship from Wilson, which is honestly really awesome. Like I've grown up.
They have great
playing-
gear.
Honestly, it's awesome. I've grown up playing with a Wilson racket basically all my life. I don't trust anything else almost now. And I just know it's an awesome company, and like they now help us provide with us balls, grips, strings, rackets as well, which is just bags, I think as well, right? Literally everything that we need to like go on the road. Like it definitely helps us as a program to get better and stronger, having that access now, and like we're so grateful to have that opportunity. And thanks to Sheree, who was our ex men's tennis team player. He now works for them, and he helped us put this deal together, which is really awesome for us, and giving us loads of opportunities just to like explore and like learn lots of new things, but also try on new things that like maybe we wouldn't have been able to try. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and so a couple of weeks ago we went to the Wilson headquarters downtown, and Sheree gave us a tour, and it was really cool. Like you get a view of the bean and
Yeah,
the
it's right
lake
down
on the other
there.
side, and then the building itself. Like they had the rooms with all the rackets, like the prototypes that they were trying out. And also I didn't realize like Wilson, it does a lot of different sports as well
Oh,
as
yeah.
tennis.
I have a lot of Wilson golf things,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah, they're big on golf. So that was cool. And then this morning, actually, we went to the Wilson Innovation Lab,
Oh, cool.
which was very cool. So there was like different prototypes, different rackets. There was a room with all the rackets that the pro players use. So like seeing their names and faces, and
Yeah.
Not allowed to touch that.
yeah,
were
weren't allowed to touch anything or take any photos.
That would be really
No,
cool.
yeah.
It was all top secret. So yeah, just like to have these opportunities, and like Muff was saying, you know, with the bags and the rackets and the balls and all of that, like it really makes a difference. And yeah, we're just very grateful for everything.
So admittedly, I have not seen this movie, but the sport of tennis has gotten slightly popular, a little bit more popular, thanks to Challengers. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yes, both
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah. We watched it together as a team, I feel.
Okay.
No, it's a good film. I just got really annoyed by the fact like when they're hitting the ball, it's not in sync.
Ah.
Like they hit it, but then when it doesn't, by the time it goes over, they're not hitting it again.
We're going to have Kelly, our editor, fix that for them.
For real. No, that's the only like bad thing I
Sure,
had about it.
sure.
I was like, it's a good film. Like it's nice. It's like, good. But then maybe just because of being a tennis player,
I love
like
that.
you're just like
I love
used
that you
to-
picked up on like how long it should take.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's my only critic for the film. But other than that, it was great.
Do you guys think it accurately represents college tennis?
Oof.
I mean, I don't think it really represents college tennis as much. Obviously, she was playing at Stanford, right?
I think so.
The girl in the film.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, if I was to do a film about college tennis, it would be more towards like the team aspect and
Right.
like showing, you know, the day in, day out, like travel and stuff like that. But I did enjoy the movie. I think the only thing that I kind of like didn't get was the ending, which I won't spoil it in case anyone watches.
I know I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
But I can see why they did it. But yeah, I think it was good.
Okay, so we already criticized a little bit about, you know, the pace.
Yeah.
What do you think of their form in the movie? Good, not good?
It's like pretty good. Like the Zendaya actually like learned how to like play tennis for the film, and I think she did a really good job. For the guys, I actually think they got doppelgangers. Is that the right word?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Like
Right?
stunt doubles,
Yeah,
whatever.
stunt
Sure.
doubles.
Yeah. Tennis doubles.
As actual pro players, and then put their faces on it.
Sure.
I think. If I remember correctly, especially when they like zoomed up into the sky, that was definitely not the actual
Well, now I gotta go
actors.
home and watch it.
So there was like a mixture of like both bags.
Okay.
Like some of it was like actual good quality, like hitting and stuff like that, and others was like mediocre, but like, hey, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah.
Shifting a little bit to your personal lives, Hannah, you're a sports business major. You work in the ticketing office for DePaul. What do you envision yourself doing with that sports business field?
It's a great question. I don't know. I always tell my partner it's like a 2-year problem for me, and she doesn't always like that answer. She was like, I want to know what you're doing, what your plans are. I don't really know. But no, I think I would say I really want to stay in sports no matter what it is, and I've always been interested into business. My mum works for a technology company, so like business is always, I was always on the car with her on conference calls, so like I sort of knew that sort of side of it and all. And then sports is just like a big part of my life. I don't think I could ever do anything without sports, no matter what it is. So I'd always stay in sport in some way, whether that's in more of like a management role or a marketing role. I think the sports business is such a diverse sort of
There's a lot you
field
could
that
do.
like you can just like go into, you learn a bit of everything. You learn
Sure.
all sort of the roles, and I think that's what sort of attracted me to that major in a sense, because like I didn't feel like I was just focusing on one area of business. I do a bit of everything, and I don't exactly know what I want to do afterwards, but yeah, 2-year problem. But yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
And Eleanor, you said that a trip to Berlin brought you to want to become a history major. Is there a favorite time period that you love to study?
Everyone always asks me this. I'm never really sure what to say. I do really enjoy, like, I find it interesting learning about, like, the world wars.
Right.
And, like, obviously, like, as horrible as it was, like, Nazi Germany, and just, like, knowing, like, how that happened. I think the trip to Berlin, like, really inspired me with that, because it was just such a cool city. And I was lucky enough to go when I was, I think, 16, 15 or 16. And so we went to, like, all the memorials and the museums.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, like, it was involved in the Cold War as well with, like, East Germany, West Germany. So that was really interesting. I also really enjoy, like, a lot older history, like the Tudor times, Elizabethan times. But I think a lot of it is due to, like, my history teachers at school. The ones that taught me those subjects were, like, my favorite teachers.
Sure.
You know, so I think if someone makes something interesting and engaging, then, like, you're more likely to
That's a
be
good point.
interested in it. Yeah.
Okay, this is not on the question list, but I have to know, do you think that The Crown is an accurate depiction of the royal family?
Controversial question.
Yes, because I want to know, because I love that show, but I want to know how realistic it truly was.
I think it's realistic in terms of, like, the events that happened. And I think in general they do a pretty good job with casting. I mean, I'm acting as if I know the royal family. Like, I've never
You
met
basically
them.
are.
So, but from what I, like, know, I think they've done a good job with that.
Yeah.
I just think it's obviously not fully accurate. Like,
Right.
the conversations that happen
Sure, there'd
are
be
just
no way.
guesses.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and it's obviously dramatized for, like, popular viewing, and they say that on the show. So I do really enjoy watching it.
Me too.
I think you just have to take it with a pinch of salt. You know?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Nobby's freshman year did dress up as the Queen for Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah.
we need a photo of that for
and
the...
then
was
edit
before
it
she
in
died.
here.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
I know, that's sad.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas, back to, your history major, of what you plan to do after graduation with that?
It's also been a big question recently. I think ideally I would do a master's degree, possibly in something like sports journalism, because I really enjoy writing, and I kind of just took history because I find it interesting. Like, I don't think I really want to go into that field. So yeah, I've always been interested in like sports journalism, and I just love writing, and I've always grown up reading like the sports section in the newspaper and stuff. So potentially something like a master's in journalism or sports journalism. But yeah, trying to figure that out right now.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, like your background in sports really provides that knowledge, and it keeps you in it in a way.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Like Muff said, like I'd also love to be involved in something to do with sports, because I think I would just be like very passionate about it. But yeah, I don't know. I also just want to do like something that helps people. So I don't know, just figuring it out.
Yeah, that's great for you both. And I don't want to go back to the fact that your tennis collegiate careers are ending soon and wrapping up, but I want to go back to how you first fell in love with tennis. Do you have a story, Hannah, that really stands out to how you first got involved with the sport?
My mom will be happy with this answer. My mom like played tennis, but more like for fun in a sense. She likes to say it was a bit competitive, but it wasn't. It was more Saturday mornings, like sort of matches that she had at the local club, and then she would bring us my sister and I, to her games. And there's like pictures of me and my sister like with a ball and a racket in our hands, like from a young age. Me in my backwards cap, and I have those little memories. And I think I just grew up in that sort of tennis environment and world. Like I played a lot of sports growing up, but tennis was something that my mum was also passionate at, and my dad and my sister and I, like, we all sort of like got into it.
Yeah.
And then it sort of grew from there. And like, obviously it does help when your parents are like a little bit more invested, because like they're then keen to like take you to tournaments, like, and take time out of their work. And I am grateful for everything they've done, because like obviously I wouldn't be here without their sort of help and support in that. So yeah, shout out to mum, good stuff. Oh, and dad, I guess. But no, overall I think it was basically my mum that sort of influenced, and then I just sort of fell in love with the game from there.
Sure.
And like the rest is almost history. So yeah.
I'm sure she's proud. For you, Eleanor?
Well, my parents actually met playing tennis.
Oh, cute.
So they've always been like involved. They never really played like super competitively or anything like that, but they've played a lot of club tennis and leagues and things like that. So when we were very, very little, like 3, they would take us just to like the toddler tennis or whatever you call it, when we would just love the fact that we were given candy at the end. And it wasn't
Incentive,
really tennis.
yeah.
It was more just like throwing and catching and
Right.
just, like having fun. So that's kind of how I started. But then we moved house and we went to like a few tennis lessons. And then it kind of went from there. I played like a little tournament for school and got like more involved in competing and things like that.
Do you both love when like maybe a friend of yours that's never, because I don't really play tennis. So for me, if I go, I'm like picking it up for the first time or maybe doing it like for the second time ever. Do you guys appreciate that people are kind of falling in love with it later in life too?
Yeah, totally. So I coach a lot when I go home. I actually coach at the club that I first played tennis at, which is also like nice for me to like go back in my roots, because like the coaches that are still there are like people that coached me, and it's always nice to have that sort of feeling again. But it's also amazing how many adults come in and want to have lessons and just want to learn to play like any sport.
Yeah.
They're just like used to sitting at a desk all day, and then,
Sure.
like, this is the 2 hours that they have like away from their like kids like chaoticness, that they can just like learn something new. And I think that's something that you almost take for granted. You're like, oh, they're just like having lessons, but like no, this is like something they want to have a passion for, because they don't always find the time to do that. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something we're really lucky is that obviously Wimbledon is hosted in the UK every year. So I think a lot of people get inspired by that and like want to start playing tennis because of Wimbledon. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, good point.
In women's tennis, it's a little bit less common, but we've seen racket smashing. Thoughts on that?
I mean,
Well,
I like, there's been many times where I've wanted to smash a racket because of just the frustration.
Right.
But I just like think rackets are just so expensive and so valuable, and there'd be so many people that could use that racket.
Yeah, don't tell Wilson. We
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah, like I think there's other ways to get rid of your frustration, and I don't like when I just don't really like when the pros do it because it's kind of their role models, you
Sure.
know, and no matter how angry you are, you can get that out in different ways, you know, like even shouting or screaming.
Shout
is better
demons as long as you can.
Exactly. Is better than breaking your racket, especially when people are watching. So yeah.
definitely, I couldn't agree more. Like sometimes I feel like the pros might do it as like not sponsorship, but like then they get a racket gets pictured on the TV rather than them. But no, it's not a good way to like represent. Like people then like come. Like I remember this one kid that I had was coaching. He was like, "Oh well, Andy Murray smashed his racket, so why can't I?" I'm like, "No, that's not how we do it."
Right.
So yeah, I definitely think it's not an idea that we should be like let out anger in a different way. But yeah.
Last thing for you both is a little bit of a speed round, some quick questions. Don't want
God.
you to really think
Sit
it
up.
over too much, just kind of first thing that comes to your mind, okay? All right. Question 1. What has been your favorite state that you've traveled to?
DC. I would say DC would be one of my favorite. That was quite quick.
That was
Didn't
quick.
even think that, did
You're
I?
struggling, Eleanor.
There's too many, but I'd probably go with California.
Okay. Do you support a certain Premier League team?
Manchester United.
Arsenal.
All right. Split house there. Hannah, you said you missed your car.
Yeah.
What are both of your dream cars if you could have whatever you wanted?
My dream car. Well, Nobbies can't drive.
Yeah, I failed my test, so I mean, I hope to pass one day.
You will.
My dream car, I don't know. I have a Mini right now. I do love a Mini. But my family's always had like a German car. My mum's German, so she's like, go for the German cars. So probably like an Audi. An Audi Q3 has like been one of my dreams for a little while. So
Slick, I like
I'm gonna
it.
go for that for right now.
I think either a Porsche, but like the big ones, you know, or Mercedes, but also like a bigger one. Like not one of the like lower ones.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a big 4x4 girl.
I love this.
I mean,
But
first I
it
need
high
to
up.
learn to drive. Well, I know how to drive. I just need to pass my test.
Exactly.
Good
Yeah.
save, good
Love
save.
it. We talked about this kind of already, but favorite Lincoln Park food place?
Favorite Lincoln Park food place? I'm gonna stick with Pasta Bowl. That's not too far.
Ooh, this is a really tough one. I mean, Colucci is Old Town, so that doesn't really count. So probably
I guess Chipotle too. I forgot about that one. It's just
Always,
down the street,
always tried and
isn't it?
true.
yeah, I would go Los Tres Panchos, or there's like a good
Okay.
sushi place. I can't remember what it's called. Blue Sushi something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Sush, that's great. Are there any new American traditions that you have tried that you have enjoyed? Just pick one that you loved.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thanksgiving.
Coming up here soon.
Yeah, we don't have that back home, so it's just nice to like be immersed in like family and friends and just like I don't know, just getting together and
Eat a bunch of
enjoying
food.
a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another reason to eat more food.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. I'm going to put you both on the spot.
Oh god.
How good is your American accent?
Oh no. Oh no, I can't do mine on this.
Yeah, you can. You got it.
Just
bro.
like you can like pretend to be me.
You can like pretend to be me.
I love it.
I can only really say like water bottle, and then like that's all I know really.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again?
Water bottle.
How would you normally say it?
Water bottle.
Because the thing is, like, that's the one thing where people often don't understand. It's like I'll be on the plane and I'll be like, they'll ask what drink, I'm like, water. And they're like, what?
Huh?
And then I'm like,
Water. Water.
No, the
Water.
other one's like ranch.
Ranch.
You have to say it like a ranch rather than ranch.
Wait, I
Like,
love this.
Ranch? Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
We need a
Ranch?
whole other
Ah.
episode where you guys just try to talk in American
we should.
because we
accent.
also
That'd be
have,
fun.
there's a lot of words that are different.
Yeah.
Like we call zucchini courgette, or like arugula, we call rocket.
Yeah.
What?
So there's like a lot of different.
And then you got
yeah.
like trousers and pants.
Yeah. You guys still use trousers?
Yeah,
I love that.
trousers.
We say that like facetiously, like joking.
No trousers yet. But
Amazing. This is awesome.
good.
You guys have been a treat to have on the Blue Demon Room show. But thank you both for being on. And you guys heard it from them. Go out and support the DePaul women's tennis team. Get out there, have some fun, be loud and cheer. Again, thank you both for joining us, and good luck with the rest of everything you guys are up to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go Blue Demons.
We'll see you next time on the Blue Demon Room podcast.